That $80,000 Mercedes Sprinter you're about to buy? Current listings show it losing $47,000 in the first 3 years, and I can prove exactly why. I've watched hundreds of people drain their retirement accounts on camper vans they end up selling at devastating losses. Today, I'm exposing the 7 financial traps that dealerships, YouTube van lifers, and even experienced RVers conveniently ignore. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which hidden costs will destroy your budget, which van models are financial disasters waiting to happen, in the one expense that catches 90% of new owners completely off guard. If you're considering any camper van purchase in 2026, whether it's a Class B Winnebago Revel, a DIY Ford Transit conversion, or a luxury Airstream Interstate on a Mercedes Sprinter chassis, what I'm about to share could save you the price of a small house. Trap number 1, the depreciation curve nobody shows you. Let's start with the trap that's already triggered the moment you sign the paperwork. A brand new Winnebago Revel 4x4 rolls off the lot at $215,000 in 2026. You drive it home feeling like a champion. Check current resale listings 3 years later. 2023 models are selling for $135,000 to $148,000. That's $67,000 to $80,000 evaporated, roughly $1,850 to $2,200 every single month, whether you drove it or not. I spoke to a retired couple in Scottsdale who bought new at $198,000. 3 years later, they sold at $136,000 because they only used it 31 days per year. The husband told me, "We should have just rented. We paid $2,000 per day to own something that sat in our driveway." But here's what makes this worse than regular vehicle depreciation. Camper vans get hit twice. First, the Mercedes Sprinter chassis loses value like any commercial van. Then, the conversion and living components depreciate even faster because technology dates quickly, materials wear out, and buyers get pickier about used interiors they'll be living in. The Ford Transit-based conversions? Marketplace data shows 18 to 23% drops in year 1 alone. The Ram ProMaster models, even steeper, because the market's flooded with them and the platform has reliability concerns buyers remember. Mercedes Sprinters hold value slightly better, but you're still watching $40,000 to $65,000 disappear in the first 36 months on a $180,000 build. Now compare this to buying a 3-year-old used van. That same Revel I mentioned? Current listings show 2023 models around $140,000 to $148,000, saving you $67,000 to $75,000 instantly. Someone else already absorbed the depreciation hit. You're getting 90% of the same van for 65 to 69% of the price. Smart buyers calculate cost per year. Emotional buyers calculate monthly payments. Which one are you? But the real killer isn't just depreciation. Trap number 2, the insurance classification trap. You budgeted for insurance, right? Maybe $1,800 to $2,400 a year like a regular vehicle? Here's where most retirees get blindsided. Full-time insurance on a Class B camper van, which is what you need if you're actually living in it or traveling extensively, runs $4,500 to $7,200 annually in 2026, depending on your state, driving record, and coverage limits. That's $375 to $600 every month before you turn the key. Why the massive jump? Because insurers don't classify your Mercedes Sprinter or Ford Transit as a vehicle anymore once it's converted. You're insuring a mobile home that can crash, flood, burn, get stolen, or injure someone. Regular auto insurance won't cover your $6,800 lithium battery bank, solar panels, custom cabinetry, and the $12,000 roof-mounted AC system when someone breaks in or a hailstorm hits Colorado. And here's the trap within the trap. Most people discover this after they buy. They get standard auto insurance quotes during the shopping phase, $180 to $220 monthly. Sounds manageable. Then they call to switch to full-timer coverage post-purchase, and the agent drops the bomb. Now you're stuck paying triple what you budgeted, or you're dangerously underinsured and don't realize it until you file a claim. Here's how the smart 15% save $1,200 to $1,800 annually. They get quotes from RV-specific insurers like National General, Progressive RV, or Good Sam before purchasing. They declare a realistic vehicle value, not inflated retail pricing. They take higher deductibles on comprehensive coverage since most full-timers can absorb a $2,500 hit, better than $600 monthly premiums. And they bundle with roadside assistance plans that actually cover vehicles over 10,000 pounds, unlike AAA standard plans. European buyers face similar chaos. Comprehensive campervan insurance in the UK or Germany runs €2,500 to €4,200 per year for vehicles over €100,000, and coverage for custom conversions requires specialized RV insurers most people have never heard of. Get actual full-timer insurance quotes on the specific van model and declared value you're considering before you commit to anything. If the real number destroys your budget, you just saved yourself from a $200,000 mistake. Trap number 3, the modern van maintenance reality. Let me paint you a picture. Your Mercedes Sprinter's check engine light comes on in rural Montana. You limp to the nearest certified dealership. There are only about 400 across North America. They run diagnostics. It's the DEF system, diesel exhaust fuel emissions component. The repair quote, $4,100 to $5,200, and your van's sitting in their lot for 2 to 3 weeks waiting for parts because Mercedes prioritizes their luxury car customers over commercial chassis. This is camper van ownership in 2026. Modern vans are rolling computers with emission systems designed to satisfy government regulations, not to be reliable. The Sprinter's Blue Tech diesel system, the Ford Transit's 3.5-liter EcoBoost Turbo, the Ram ProMaster's 3.6-liter Pentastar, they're all loaded with sensors, valves, and electronics that fail expensively and often. Average annual maintenance on a campervan that's being actively used, $3,200 to $5,800. That includes oil changes, brake jobs, tire replacements, plus all the RV-specific systems, water pumps, furnaces, refrigerators, inverters, shore power systems. Something breaks every 3 to 4 months. But here's what nobody calculates: the lost time cost. You're in New Zealand on a 3-month trip. Your Airstream Interstate's transmission starts slipping. You're not going to a corner mechanic. You need a Mercedes-certified dealer with RV experience. The nearest one is 280 miles away. You lose 4 days of your trip, plus $5,800 to $6,400 in repairs, plus $750 in accommodation because you can't live in the van during service. Now compare platforms. A Ford Transit can be serviced at 3,000 plus dealers across North America. Basic mechanical work, any competent shop can handle it. Mercedes Sprinter, maybe 400 certified locations, and they charge luxury rates. Ram ProMaster, better service network than Sprinter, but the transmission issues on 2014 to 2019 models haunt resale values. The sexiest van isn't the smartest van, the one you can get fixed anywhere, affordably, quickly. That's why transits dominate the conversion market. Accessibility beats prestige when you're broken down. Trap number 4. The fuel cost math everyone gets wrong. People calculate fuel costs wrong. They think, I'll drive maybe 12,000 miles a year. The van gets 17 mpg, diesel is $3.80 a gallon, so that's about $2,500.40 a year, manageable. Wrong calculation. Here's reality. First, you're not getting 17 mpg. That's the manufacturer's empty van optimal conditions number. Your Ford Transit or Ram ProMaster weighs 9,000 to 11,000 pounds fully loaded, with water tanks, gear, supplies, and 2 people. Add a tow dolly with a small car because you need transportation at campsites. That's another 3,500 pounds. You're driving mountain passes and fighting headwinds. Real-world fuel economy? Ford Transit diesel 13 to 16 mpg loaded. Ram ProMaster gas 11 to 14 mpg. Mercedes Sprinter diesel, 14 to 17 mpg, but requires more expensive DEF fuel. Second, you're not driving 12,000 miles if you're actually living this lifestyle. You're hitting national parks, visiting family across states, chasing 70-degree weather year-round. Actual average for active van lifers, 18,000 to 24,000 miles annually. Here's how smart buyers keep fuel costs manageable. Follow the 30-30-40 rule. Stay put 30% of the time in one location for 2 to 3 weeks. Take 30% short local trips under 50 miles. Reserve 40% for longer travel days. This cuts annual mileage to 14,000 to 16,000 miles instead of 24,000. That alone saves $2,400 to $3,200 per year in fuel. And this is where most retirees get caught.
Add campground fees, $35 to $75 per night at decent spots with hookups. Add propane for heating and cooking, $400 to $700 yearly. Add the random tolls, parking fees, dump station costs, and occasional hotel nights when systems fail. Your monthly operating expenses hit $1,500 to $2,400 before you factor in food, entertainment, or emergencies. The people who make van life work financially, they're boondocking on BLM land in national forests 70% of the time. They follow the 30-30-40 movement rule, and they've optimized every system to minimize dependency. The Instagram van lifers showing you a different scenic overlook every morning, they're either independently wealthy, running sponsored content, or going broke slowly while pretending everything's fine. Trap number 5. The lithium battery replacement timeline. Your van has a beautiful 400 to 600 amp-hour lithium battery system with solar panels on the roof, total off-grid freedom. Until year 4 or 5, when capacity drops to 60 to 70% and you need replacement. Cost in 2026, $5,400 to $9,200 for a comparable system, plus installation labor. This catches people off guard because manufacturers advertise 3,000 to 5,000 cycle ratings, but full-timers cycle batteries 250 to 350 times annually. Your 10-year batteries become 4 to 6-year batteries. And it's not just batteries. That Webasto diesel heater, $3,200 to replace at year 5 to 6. The Dometic fridge, $1,900 to $2,300. Max Air roof fans, $550 to $680 each. Every RV system has a finite lifespan with monopoly replacement pricing. Here's the calculation nobody does. Take your van's purchase price, add $28,000 to $45,000 in expected system replacements over 10 years. A $150,000 van is actually a $178,000 to $195,000 commitment. But the part nobody calculates until it's too late? Trap number 6, the resale market reality. Here's the uncomfortable truth about resale. Let's say you do everything right. You buy used, you maintain it meticulously, and after 5 years, you're ready to sell. Now you discover the hardest lesson. The camper van resale market is brutal. Your Ford Transit conversion has 78,000 miles, clean, documented service records, new tires. You list it for $68,000, fair price based on comparables. 6 months later, you're still trying to sell it. Why? The buyer pool is tiny. Banks treat camper vans as RVs with higher interest rates, 6.5 to 8.5% versus 4.9 to 5.9% for regular autos, and stricter approvals. Your buyer with a 720 credit score just got denied financing. Meanwhile, 2026 models have newer technology. Your 2021 van feels dated. You drop to $62,000. Still crickets. Eventually, you accept $58,000, $10,000 below plan. This is where optimism dies. The vans that do sell quickly? Ford Transits and Ram ProMasters in the $45,000 to $65,000 range. High-end Sprinter builds above $120,000? They sit for 6 to 14 months. But here's how you win at resale. Neutral interiors sell 40% faster than bold custom colors. Beige and gray are boring but universal. Rear fixed beds outsell convertible layouts by a huge margin. Buyers want comfort, not Tetris. Under 70,000 miles is a psychological threshold. 69,000 feels young, 71,000 feels used. Documented service records reduce negotiation losses by 15 to 20%. Proof beats promises. Those four things turn a 10-month listing into a 6-week sale at better pricing. Trap number 7, the lifestyle cost nobody calculates. Here's the final trap, the opportunity cost of the lifestyle you're not living while paying for the van. You bought a $180,000 Winnebago Revel on a 7-year loan. Monthly costs, $2,680 loan, $580 insurance, $450 maintenance reserves, $500 fuel. That's $4,210 monthly or $50,520 annually, just to own it. But you work full-time. You travel 3 weeks per year. The van sits 49 weeks, depreciating whether used or not. You're spending $50,520 for 3 weeks of travel. That's $16,840 per week. Compare, rent a luxury camper van for $275 to $425 per day. 3 weeks costs $5,775 to $8,925. You pocket $41,595 to $44,745 annually. Invested at 7% over 7 years, that's $420,000 plus in retirement accounts instead of owning a used van worth $92,000. This is why financial advisors cringe at "I'm buying a camper van for retirement freedom." Unless you're using it 150 days a year minimum, the math is catastrophic. The people for whom ownership makes financial sense? Full-timers living in it 8 to 11 months yearly, digital nomads working remotely, retirees who sold their house and live mobile permanently. If that's not you, if you're keeping your house and job while using this van 4 to 6 weeks yearly, you're making one of the most expensive emotional purchases of your life while calling it investing in experiences. The surprising play nobody talks about? Here's what the industry doesn't want you to know. The absolute smartest financial play in 2026 is buying a 2020 to 2022 professionally converted Ford Transit or Ram ProMaster with 35,000 to 55,000 miles for $52,000 to $68,000. Why? Someone else ate the $95,000 to $115,000 initial depreciation bomb. The van's mechanically broken in, early defects resolved, recalls done, but not old enough for major failures. Systems have 5 to 7 years of life remaining. Insurance is $120 to $180 cheaper monthly because declared value is lower. And if you sell in 3 to 4 years, depreciation is minimal, maybe $8,000 to $14,000 total because you bought at the depreciation floor. You're getting 80% of the new van experience for 45% of the cost with 70% less depreciation risk. That's the play. So who should actually buy a camper van in 2026? Buy if you're retired or working remotely, you'll use it 150 days per year minimum, you're keeping it 8 to 10 years minimum, you're comfortable with $45,000 to $65,000 in maintenance and system replacements over that time span, you genuinely prefer mobile living to fixed housing, and you're putting down at least 35 to 40%. Do not buy if you're financing with less than 30% down, you can only travel 3 to 6 weeks annually, you're hoping it holds value for resale, you hate dealing with repairs, or you think it'll be like a vacation house you can drive. It won't. It'll demand constant attention and occasional expensive repairs, just like owning a boat. The campervan industry has sold you a fantasy funded by your retirement account. They've convinced you that $180,000 in debt equals freedom. It doesn't. Most buyers drastically underestimate the total cost structure, the insurance jumps, the maintenance reality, the depreciation curve, the operating expenses, and the opportunity cost of capital tied up in a depreciating asset they use 4 weeks per year. The 15% who make it work? They go in with eyes open. They buy used at the depreciation floor, they DIY repairs, they follow the 30-30-40 movement rule, they boondock relentlessly, and they actually live the full-time lifestyle instead of cosplaying it 4 weeks a year. The math doesn't lie. Your emotions will. Drop a comment. What's your realistic annual budget for owning and operating a camper van, and how many days per year will you honestly use it? Let's see if your numbers work, or if you're walking into a $120,000 trap.